Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing my friend's makeup for her Sweet 16. I did like a pink natural type of glam. I did a sunset eye. So if you want to see how I did it, then just keep on watching. So when I was doing her makeup, it was the actual day of her party. So there was kind of like a lot of things going on. She was getting her hair done, she was getting her nails done. So if you see people walking around and people behind her, it was just like a hectic day for her. But as you can see, I'm just starting off with the brows. To fill in her brows, I just used the Anastasia Dip Brow in dark brown, and that's kind of what I started off first, just filling them in with that. And then later on, I do go in with the dark brown duo from Anastasia to just fill it in with a powder. I just like the way that the powder looks on the eyebrows, so I did end up using that too. Her brows are naturally pretty thick, so I didn't have to do much. But here, as you can see, I'm carving out her brows just to give it more a defined, sharp look. And to carve it out, I used Shape Tape in medium with just like an angled brush to carve it out. And then I'm just blending it out with a Duo Fiber synthetic brush.
So yeah, do your name in sign language.
Alright, so now I'm just priming her eyes. I think I just used the Urban Decay Primer Potion. And I'm just blending that in onto her whole entire eyelid. And to further prime her eyes and just make sure everything's one solid color, I used the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre on her eyelids as well, and I just blend that in with the same brush that I used earlier. So here I was just going back in and kind of like fixing the carve from the brow. I really like to focus on the brows, and I just wanted to make sure they looked perfect for her big day. So I was just kind of fixing a little bit of the carve that kind of got messed up through the process. So here I started to work on her eyes, and for the transition color I actually went ahead and used the hot pink from the Urban Decay Electric palette, and I put that in her crease. This is going to be a sunset eye, so I did put it like throughout the entire crease, even the inner corner. So I was just kind of packing that on lightly and running that through the crease. And so I was also just kind of like intensifying a little bit more, just adding more of the pink and then blending out the edges just to make sure everything looks pretty seamless. And then going back in with the hot pink just to make sure that it stays as pigmented as possible. So then to deepen it up, I used a smaller tapered brush, and I used Bitten from Makeup Geek, and I put that also in the crease but just a little bit lower, and then I smoked that out with that same brush. So again, I just pack it on and then I kind of blend it out a little bit and just keep on packing and blending and packing and blending just so that it doesn't really lose the intensity.
Oh, that hurts.
So here I started to carve out the crease in kind of like the sunset technique, and to do that I just used that same Shape Tape concealer in medium, and I just placed the concealer on the middle of the lid. You want to make sure that you take your time when you're cutting the crease It was a little bit difficult for me this day because her head kept on moving, so I tried to keep it as stable as possible. But yeah, just take your time and just keep on looking back at it, just to make sure that it's even with the other eye, and just making sure that you keep it in the center of the lid. So now I just used a tapered brush to bring those colors back into the inner and outer corners. So I started off using the hot pink from the electric palette and just applying that in the inner and outer corners. And then after that I go in with Bitten. And also I forgot to mention I used a color from the Jaclyn Hill palette in the outer and inner corners. It was Jax from the Jaclyn Hill palette by Morphe, and it's just kind of like a burgundy color, and so I also used that. Now I'm just priming her lids for glitter, so I used the Too Faced glitter glue, and I just packed that on and waited until it got tacky. So next I just packed on this glitter from OCC in beige. It's like a rose gold glitter. I just didn't really like the way that it looked. It looked like it needed something else under it. So then on top of it, I packed on an eyeshadow from Anastasia Beverly Hills in Pink Champagne. So I put that over it, and then I put a little bit more of the glitter. And so here I'm just cleaning up a little bit of the mess that I made. So here I'm lining her upper lash line with the Maybelline Eye Studio in Black is Black, and I didn't do anything too dramatic. I just kind of wanted something as a base for the lashes, so I just kept this pretty tight on the upper lash line. So here I just sprayed her face with this MAC softening lotion spray, and then I primed her skin with the Ember Elise concentrate cream. So yeah, I just blended that cream throughout her entire face, and it's a very moisturizing cream. I think it's like one of the best primers out there because it's kind of like a moisturizer and a primer all in one. And then on her T-zone, I used the Benefit Professional, like the mattifying one, and I used that on her T-zone. For foundation, I used the MAC Studio Fix Fluid in NC30, and I applied it with a concealer brush and then blended it out with this Morphe sponge. So next I applied the concealer under her eyes, and I used that same Shape Tape concealer in medium, and I just blended it out under her eyes. And I also think I applied some on her forehead and on her chin. And then I used a cream from this foundation palette I have to kind of like cream contour, or at least to like start off the contour. And I put that on her cheeks and on her temples just to bronze everything up, and I blended it out with this foundation brush. And I made sure to really blend it out just so that it doesn't look too harsh, because like I said, this is just to like bronze everything up. And to just start off the contour, I'm going to be using powdered contour later, so that is just to start it off and just make her skin look a little bit more bronzed. So next, to contour her nose, I just used the same cream color from the Graftobian foundation palette, and I just used that to contour her nose a little bit, and I just made sure to really blend it out so that it doesn't look too harsh. So next I just used that same sponge and some of the Laura Mercier translucent powder to start like baking her face. I start off with the eyes because that tends to crease the fastest, and then I just put a little bit under that cream contour just to start making it a little bit more chiseled. So next I start applying her lashes. I used a pair from AliExpress. If I can find the number of it, I'll link it down below. But yeah, I just applied those on her. They're not too dramatic, but they're definitely dramatic enough for a quinceanera or a sweet 16. So after I apply the lashes, I just go in with that same eyeliner that I used earlier and just touch up the eyeliner. And then I just used a eyeliner pencil on her waterline just to intensify it. So then I start working on the lower lash line. So I first applied that same hot pink under her lash line, and I used kind of one of these smudger brushes, and then I used Bit In with like a more precise blender brush, and I just smoked that under her lash line as well. So then on her inner corner I used Shimma Shimma by Makeup Geek, and it really makes the look pop so much more. And I used that same color under her brows as a brow bone highlight, and I just blended it out just so that it didn't look like a harsh line. Then now I just used the Maybelline Colossal Big Shot mascara just to combine her lashes with the false lashes, and I used some of that on her lower lashes as well. So then I started contouring, and for contour I used the NARS Laguna and NARS Casino, and so I also wiped away that bake that I had on from earlier and just contoured her face a little bit. Then I go in for highlight, and for highlight I use the Laura Geller Gilded Honey, and I put that on her cheekbones, on top of her brows, on the bridge and the tip of her nose, on her cupid's bow, and on her chin. And then I move on to lips. So for lip liner, I use the NYX lip liner in Nutmeg. And then for lipstick, I used the Fenty Uncuffed liquid lipstick. And so I applied that onto her lips. And then she wanted a gloss today, so I used, also by Fenty, the Fenty Glow Gloss Bomb. So the last thing I do is set her face, and to set it I use the Morphe setting spray, and I just spray that all over her face. So that is the final look. I felt very honored to be able to do her makeup for her big day. But I thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys have any detailed questions about anything that I use, just please let me know in the comments below. So yeah, once again, just thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.